At the beginning of my pregnancy, I had a hard time finding a provider that would see me within a month's time. They wanted to do everything over the phone and maybe an ultrasound way later on. And as a first-time mom, I just wasn't comfortable with that. So I was able to connect with Sacred Roots, and I shared some of my anxiety with them, and they were able to get me in within that first week of contacting them, which was huge for me. And then I sat down with Angela, and the staff took about 2 hours, or the time that I needed, to discuss all of my concerns and everything. And that was such a stark contrast to what I had been experiencing over the phone, talking to random nurses, or I felt like it wasn't just about my medical history, it was really about me and my pregnancy.
The whole team made us feel really welcome the whole time. We had the pleasure of meeting a couple of different midwives on our checkup days, and they were very attentive and very caring. They were always very patient and wanted to make sure that every question that we had was answered. And
the big things and the small things.
Yeah, all of it. They were always encouraging us to ask more questions or just to be thorough. So it was a wonderful experience the entire time. Yeah, do you think so too? We ended up coming in very early Saturday morning, and Angela, I remember her statement to Jillian was, "This is not me denying that you're in labor or that you're in pain or that you're, like, all of this is happening. I just think that based on the amount of time you've been in labor, if we try to continue and increase labor right now, you're gonna be really tired by the time we actually get to the event." So we went home and Jillian rested for a while, or tried to. Later afternoon we came back and
I was 9 centimeters
9
dilated.
centimeters, so we were ready to stay at the birth center, and
they were ready for us, ready to go.
Yeah.
It was just so peaceful when we arrived. I loved that it was going to be more of a private experience, that we would have our own room, our own space, that there weren't going to be a ton of people coming in and out. I loved that there was no wait and triage.
Yeah.
There wasn't a question.
There's no waiting room.
There was no question of who I was going to meet with, as far as I knew I would be meeting with a familiar face, and that was really important because at that time, it's pretty critical. So the fact that I didn't have to worry about any of that was, that mental tax just was gone.
There are multiple midwives here, and we had met several of them through the prenatal journey, and we were like, mentioning to each other, which midwife do you hope we get? And we were both like, any of them. They're all wonderful people.
Yes.
They're all fantastic to work with. They're all very attentive and thoughtful and considerate. And so we didn't even have like a preference, I don't think, going in.
No. The staff was wonderful in making sure that I was comfortable. I really had my heart set on having a water birth, and so I knew that would be an option at Sacred Roots. And so I got to do most of my laboring,
in the tub.
In the room, in the nice bathroom, in the tub, and it was a very relaxing atmosphere up until, that point. It went exactly how we had anticipated.
Yeah.
We did end up needing to have Isla born very quickly because through the monitoring they found that her heart rate was low. So we did have to get out of the tub really quickly, and through their coaching and fast work, we were able to deliver her very quickly. Isla is living proof that midwives do know what to do in emergency. They do know how to handle emergencies. They were prepared. Everything went as smoothly as it possibly could under those circumstances. Every step of the way, they were there for us.
He needed to be intubated right after she was born, and Angela got that done in, I think, 10 seconds or something like that. And then we all went to the hospital, went to Riley downtown, and the midwives that we had with us came with us because it was a bit of a uncertain situation. And so I remember both of them came with us and sat with us until about 4 a.m. that night, or the next morning, just to be with us.
And although that might not be standard, it was just another example of how they go above and beyond for their clients. We knew that, it was more than just a birth story to them. They wanted to make sure that we were okay. Yeah. And we all ended up being okay, which is great. And even with the emergency delivery, we do not regret delivering at Sacred Roots. We would not change a thing because, again, they were totally equipped to handle everything that happened that night.
Yeah.
Something I loved was throughout pregnancy, I knew that I could call the midwives at any time. And
they encouraged that.
And there was one time I had a horrible stomach bug, and I was able to talk to a midwife throughout the night, just not knowing, like, should I go in? Should I be, what would the next steps be? And they were there for me, and that definitely made an impact on me even afterwards, knowing that if anything comes up, I know that I'm going to be able to call them. Just knowing that there was someone there for me, that was huge.
I think my favorite aspect is that the service isn't like a product. It's a custom service for every client that comes through the door. So they answer specifically your questions and deal with specifically your situation and plan with you. They want to make sure that everything that happens with you and with your delivery is what you wanted. It's just a lot more of a personal touch. I think the advice I'd give ourselves would be, you have to prepare, you have to do the breathing exercises and do all the things in the moment, but you also have to accept that your journey is your journey, and you can't change what your delivery story is going to be or your child's story is going to be with any amount of stress, worry, or work. It's very easy when you're expecting a little one to get caught up in the future and get caught up in the past. It can be hard to stay in the present. I think I would just encourage us to focus on that more.
Yeah, being in the present.
Yeah.
The best thing that I did was to prepare mentally. My labor was more extensive. It was about 36 hours. You have all the support and that's great, but it's really up to the mom. So channeling and really focusing on the mental space and breath work made all the difference to me.
We had a doula, but no family or friends. And based on the emergency transfer, we're very glad that we did not have anyone else there besides our doula.
We can't recommend having a doula enough.
Yeah.
By having her, we were able to better gauge when to come in. And she was able to help us labor at home and be comfortable at home, and then also be comfortable here. And the education that she provided before the birth made all the difference.
Yeah. One of the things we kept coming back to is how much we trusted our providers and how much we weren't worried about how the birth was going to go, because we knew we had as much support as we could possibly need between the doula and the team of midwives and nurses at Sacred Roots are phenomenal. So I would say for someone considering out of hospital birth, you want to work with someone who you really trust and click with, and that shouldn't take a very long time. Usually the first couple of times you talk with or meet a provider or company that is doing this work, you get an understanding of their presence and how they're going to communicate with you and how they're going to treat you and serve you. And we were never uncomfortable here in the checkups and the sitting in the waiting room. Every step and every facet of the service was comfortable.
I guess I would say to expectant mothers, if you feel that there may be better service out there in preparation of your birth, you're probably right. So you should probably seek other providers.
I have no idea if we're going to venture down the second baby route or even be open to that. But if we did, I would go back to Sacred Roots.